Hello, welcome to a new YouTube video. Today we're going to do this problem called 771, greatest common divisor of strings, and yeah, let's get started. For two strings s and t, we say t divides s if and only if s is equal to whatever t is concatenated with itself one or more times. Okay. Given two strings, string 1 and string 2, return the largest string x such that x divides both string 1 and itself. So it divides itself and string 2. Okay. So yeah, first off, let's get the input. I like to write my stuff in here first. This is just like a blank screen, right? So our input's going to be two strings. Those two string. Oh, I'm feeling a little bit dizzy. It's string 1 and string 2. I don't know if I faint right now. Anyways, so then our output is going to be. I'm guessing they don't say it, but well, what they do say, but return larger string x such that x divides both. Okay, so basically what that means is that we're going to return largest string that goes into inputs. So by that, it's basically saying by saying goes in. So goes in basically means what I'm trying to say is that it's divisible, visible in both strings. And I'll just go through an example to kind of showcase what I mean by that. So example 1, right? So let's just say we're given a string, two strings, da, 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 right? So two strings, da, 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 and then da. Okay. So the output of this would just be DAH because DAH DH goes into string string 1 like 3 times. Oh, string 1 divided by da is equal to 3, right? And then string 2 divided by da is equal to 1. Right, so that's what I mean by divisible in both strings. And yeah. So I guess in another example to kind of showcase that what we mean by divisible and getting the largest string that can go into both strings at the same time. So let's say we have the same string, right? Da da. Okay. I guess make it da da and then da, so two da da. Okay. So the largest string that goes into both is technically um da da, which is like two, there's da da, right? But we want it so that it's actually divisible at like it's like completely divisible. So if we did string 1 divided by da da, it will be equal to like 1.5 or something, right? I don't know. And we want it to be divisible, so we have to check the modulo of it, right? So in this case, the actual output would be da because da goes into da da like three times still, and then goes into string 2 two times still, right? That's kind of it. And let's do an example where it doesn't work at all, right? So I guess example 3, where they said let's see like hello and then world, right? Well, obviously we'll get nothing because they don't go into each other at all. No matter what combination. Well, usually we just want the prefix and the suffix of it um, for it to kind of work. So we did two examples to kind of showcase how it would work, and an example where none of it works, right? So yeah. So we went through our input and output, took some notes, examples. I guess a question wouldn't hurt, like question what's the min length of string inputs? And the answer to that would be I would get the answer from the interviewer, but here it just says 1, so that's cool. So let's go ahead and kind of match what kind of tools we need to kind of solve this problem. So we're obviously going to use division. So integer division, we can use modulo. We can use um, hmm, mm, let's see. Let's see. We also obviously use like a for loop to kind of iterate through. Um, and we can also use if statements. And I'm pretty sure that's it to kind of match. So we kind of now that we have some tools, let's go ahead and kind of plan it out, right? Um, let's see. What do I want to do first? Um, hmm. I guess it shouldn't matter what string we could use. Um, so yeah, let's just choose string one, I guess. So first off, I want to get user input, so get user input. And then second off, let's see. Hmm. We just do like a for loop. We can iterate through for loop, iterate through string one. So by that, I kind of want to do for I in range, um, all the way starting from length of string one, all the way to zero, then going to negative one, right? So what this will do is that it will start from the length of the first string and go all the way down, right? So basically, what I'm trying to do is we're trying to find the biggest string that would make sense, right? So for example, if I started off here, right, we wouldn't really get into like we wouldn't get a string that will make sense, that will fit both string one and string two until we hit here, right? So this is iteration zero, iteration one, iteration two, and then iteration three, right? So yeah. So by that, I'm gonna get um so temp string. So temp is going to be equal to string one at I. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure it's inclusive. Hold on, I gotta print this out actually. For I in range all the way up to starting from length of string one down to zero, like minus one every time, and then I just want to print out string one all the way up to I. Let's see what happens. Just want to see. Okay, cool. So that's exactly what I want. So I did get that. That is exactly what I want. Okay. So okay. So for iron range, we're going to get the temp string, right? And then we gotta check if this temp string is divisible. Um, so check if divisible by check if divisible by length of both. So if if length of temp um string one modulo by length of temp um, equals 0, and string 2 visible by length of temp equal to 0, then this is obviously a candidate. Um, so then if it's divisible by 0, um, that's good, right? So but we also need to check if it's equal. So then check if equal. We can check by if it's equal by, okay, so if this is true, then we can also go into the if statement into it. So check if equal, right? So if it is equal, then we're just going to kind of make a copy of the string. So check if equal by making a copy of string. Okay. So we can say, so if it is equal, then we want to get the divisible or the number it's divisible by. So I guess like I guess string 1 divided by visible is equal to d1 is equal to string 1 integer divided by length of temp. And then d2 is equal to string 2 divided by length of temp. Okay. And then I want to see if it's equal to each other. Okay. I think obviously, no, I think it's both. It's good if we do both. So copy 1 is equal to um, string 1 times d1. No, string one times oh, it's equal to temp times d1, and then copy 2 is equal to temp times d2, and then we have to check if they're both the same. So if copy 1 is equal to string 1 and copy 2 is equal to string 2, then we can just return temp, right? Because temp is technically our result. And yeah, so basically what will happen is that we'll start here. Then on the third iteration of ABC, we will do this operation where we check if it is divisible, and if it is divisible, then we get it. Then we get a number that it can divide it by. So string 1 divided by the length of temp, that will be equal to to 2, and then for string 2, it would be string 2 divided by the length of temp, which is ABC, which is 3. So it just goes in. So this will be 2, this will be 1. And then we'll just make sure if they're copies, right? And if they're actual copies, like each letter is the same, then we're going to return temp. But otherwise, we're just going to out of this for loop, we're just going to return the empty string. All right, so this makes sense. Okay, so now all we gotta do is just this does make sense. So let's just go ahead and kind of copy paste our code in here. So I like to write it. So I just like to copy paste it. So let me just do this. Okay, cool. I don't like this here. Okay, cool. So the for loop to kind of iterate through the string backwards. So we get the largest first. So we don't have to check if it's if there's anything bigger than that. If we start at 0, right? So first off, we gotta make a temp string. And the for loop, so temp is equal to string 1, or it could be any string, all the way up to the index of I, where we're starting at. And then we're going to check if it is divisible, if temp is divisible. So check if divisible. So we're going to see if string 1 it can be divisible by the length of the temporary string. So length of temp is equal to 0, and string 2 length of temp is also visible by the length of temp, and it's equal to 0. Oh, oops. Um, and then if it is divisible, then we can make a copy of the string. So if so, make test, make sure there are copies. Right, so we don't have to check every letter individually. We can just make a copy to see if it is equal. So by that, we just gotta get the divisor or the number below to make it. I don't know. I forgot what's called the numerator. I don't know. I think it's the denominator. I don't know. Well, the number it can be divided by. Yeah, that's a better word. So we gotta get the divided by number. So string 1 divided by the length of temp, and then the divisor of string 2, the length of temp. So we're using temp to kind of see how many times it can go in that number in that string. So then we can make a copy of string 1, which is basically temp times d1, and then copy of string 2 is temp times d2. And then we can say, so if they are copies, so copy 1 is equal to string 1, and copy 2 is equal to string 2. Then we have the answer, which is just temp, which we just got. So then in the end, if it doesn't go through this for loop, we can just return we can just turn an empty string. So this should work. That all arguments are connected during formatting. Oh, maybe I'm having brain issues. So what? Not all arguments are arguments converted during string formatting? Oh, I think it has to be length. Yeah, my bad. Oh my god, I am forgetting a lot of syntax. Good thing that was just pseudocode. Okay, let me just make sure. So temp1 times d2. Okay, that works. Okay, that looks good. Alright, so it runs good on these 3 cases, so let's just submit and see what happens. And it works! Damn, it's pretty fast! That is pretty fast, but it's RNG, so I don't care. So that's a good solution. I really hate how it's... Why is this so big? Like, calm down, bro. Like, fold that shit. So yeah, so this is my solution. I mean, I guess I shouldn't have these either, so that makes sense. So, yeah, so that's my solution. So what we basically did is that, right, we took the easy way out. We basically kind of did a greedy approach where we know we're supposed to get the greatest or the biggest string that is the common divisor between both strings. So we started from the top, or started from the end of the string, and then we kind of just went down until we found a string that is divisible by both. And to find that if it is divisible, we took the modulo of the string, um, we took the length and the length of the input strings and divided by our temporary strings to see if it is divisible using modulo. And then what we did afterwards, we don't really want to check if each letter matches. So what we did is we kind of did something cool. We basically made copies of it. So whatever temp was, temp is basically what we found to be is the divisible. Well, the length is divisible. And so what we did is like, okay, so if it is divisible, how many times can we multiply temp to equal to the input strings? So what we did is we just divided the length of the input strings by the length of temporary. And then to make a copy of it, we just say, okay, so here's temp. We're going to times it by the number to get it to the length of string 1, which we got here. That is divisible. And then we're like, okay, so if they are actual copies, we're just going to compare them letter by letter by letting Python do it for us with the equals operator, the double equals operator. And then if they are, then that's cool. Then we return temp, which is the whole string that got us through everything, right? And then if that's not the case in the for loop that we return temp, then that means that we haven't found a string that is the greatest common divisor. So we have to return an empty string. So yeah.